Welcome to Day 34 on the Trail. We have 5 readings for today. Luke 19 verses 1 through 27, Exodus 4:18 through 6:13, the 45th Psalm, Job 6 verses 1 through 30, and Sirach chapter 38 verse 34 through 39:35. I would like to start with something a little different for our time together today. So let me begin with a story. The battlefield is quiet. Soldiers stumble through the smoldering remnants of war. Smoke fills the air with the scent of destruction and burning pyres. The light of the sun dims as it falls beneath the horizon, hastening to turn away from the blood-soaked field. Yet this was just the first battle to be fought on the fields of Pelennor. The forces of evil, spewing from Mordor, have been defeated for the moment. This victory is a mere respite from the raging war. Clouds lifting from the fields are only the first bands of a horrific hurricane about to fall on the shores of Gondor. During this grave scene behind the third book of Tolkien's Lord of the Rings trilogy, the reader is desperate for a bit of hope. But even Gandalf, the great wizard, who always seems to make a timely appearance, has little hope to offer in this particularly dark moment. Instead, he turns his gaze from the ashes of Pelennor to the future's horizon. He says, "Yet it is not our part to master the tides of the world, but to do what is in us for the comfort of those years wherein we are set, uprooting the evil in the fields that we know, so that those who live after may have clean earth to till. What weather they shall have is not ours to rule." Even for Gandalf, the battle seems too great. But for that singular moment, they control the land on which they stand. There they can fight for the sake of others who will pass by in future days. They can decide to courageously stand for a hope that reaches beyond their battle and beyond their lives. After all, hope is not ours to possess in this moment. Hope grows in the lives of our children, our grandchildren, and our friends. True hope springs from the soil that we have tilled during our journey through this land into a future that reaches beyond us. Yet often, too often, hope can quickly be reduced to a comfort that I wish to secure for myself. And cheapened by my selfishness, hope perishes like a tender seedling robbed of light. In the story of Zacchaeus, found in Luke 19, hope starts unintentionally. Jesus is not planning on staying in Jericho. He was passing through on his way to Jerusalem for the final time. Therefore, there's a lot on his mind. But then we meet Zacchaeus. He is not very popular in town. He is wealthy, but it is how he obtained his wealth that's the problem. He was a tax collector, and not just a tax collector, a chief tax collector. Rome would often outsource its tax collections to local citizens, and sometimes these tax collectors would take far more than Rome required. In fact, in the Gospels, tax collectors are often lumped together with sinners. In verse 3, Zacchaeus was trying to see who Jesus was, but on account of the crowd, he could not, because he was short in stature. So he ran ahead and climbed a sycamore tree to see him, because he was going to pass that way. Now, why can't Zacchaeus see Jesus? His height? Well, that's part of it. But the real reason is that no one would let him find a place in the crowd where he could see Jesus. Have you ever been to a parade when it's crowded? We place our children on our shoulders so they can see. No one is letting Zacchaeus get in front of them so he can see. So he improvises and climbs a sycamore tree. Now Zacchaeus does not necessarily expect Jesus to see him. and he doesn't seem to try to get Jesus' attention. He just wants to see. Now, why does he want to see Jesus? Well, Zacchaeus knew that he was hated in his community. It was obvious that he was an outcast. Maybe he heard that Jesus had associated and even ate with tax collectors and sinners. So perhaps Zacchaeus was looking for hope. In verse 5 we read, "When Jesus came to the place, he looked up and said to him, 'Zacchaeus, hurry and come down, for I must stay at your house today.'" Now remember, Luke has told us that Jesus is just passing through. But in this moment, Jesus calls out to him. Zacchaeus wanted to see Jesus, but not necessarily to be seen by Jesus. But now, Zacchaeus has to decide if he's going to respond to Jesus or not. And he seizes the opportunity. Zacchaeus came down at once and welcomed Jesus gladly. He showed hospitality to Jesus. And the other folks in the crowd saw what happened. Everyone knew who Zacchaeus was. All who saw it began to grumble and said, "He has gone to be the guest of one who is a sinner." Zacchaeus stood there and said to the Lord, "Look, half of my possessions, Lord, I will give to the poor. And if I have defrauded anyone of anything, I will pay back 4 times as much." Now, does Jesus command Zacchaeus to do this? No. Zacchaeus gives. And he doesn't just give, but gives generously. And who does he give to? Not Jesus. Instead, he gives to those Jesus cared about. Zacchaeus found hope and a future in this encounter with Jesus. And this changed how he saw the world around him. The story of Zacchaeus is not about what Jesus wanted from Zacchaeus. It was about what Jesus wanted for Zacchaeus and for us. Thank you for joining us today. Until next time, stay on the trail.